The stories you're about to hear may give you goosebumps and haunt your dreams. If you're brave enough, put on your headphones, turn off the lights, and start listening. If what you hear interests you, like the video and share your thoughts on the topic. Subscribe to the channel for new stories. Don't worry, I won't keep you waiting any longer. The darkness begins now. Andrew checked his phone one more time before leaving the office. The group chat was blowing up with excitement. High school legends. Kyle, bro, can't wait for tonight. Emma, I'm bringing that expensive wine you like. Marcus, should I bring my guitar? Andrew, yes, bring everything. This is the party. Sarah, last night of our 20s, let's make it count. Andrew, exactly. See you all at 8. December 31st. New Year's Eve. The last party of the decade. Andrew had been planning this for weeks, his high school and university friends all together under one roof. Good food. Good drinks. Good memories. He grabbed his coat and headed to the parking garage. The grocery store would be packed this close to midnight, but he needed to pick up a few last-minute things. Chips. Dips. Ice. The essentials. The supermarket was chaos. People rushing, carts colliding, shelves being emptied like locusts had descended. Andrews grabbed a cart and dove into the madness. He was reaching for a bag of chips when his phone screen flickered. The display glitched, colors inverting, pixels scrambling, then snapping back to normal in less than a second. Stupid phone, he muttered, tapping the screen. Everything seemed fine now. What Andrew didn't know, what none of them knew yet, was that at exactly 4:47 p.m. GMT, the sun had released a massive coronal mass ejection. A solar flare so powerful that its electromagnetic pulse was already beginning to interfere with electronics across the globe. But solar storms happened all the time. Scientists monitored them. Systems were in place. Nothing to worry about. Andrew loaded his cart with snacks, paid at the self-checkout, which also glitched twice during the transaction, and headed to his car. The drive from the city center to his apartment usually took 45 minutes, longer with holiday traffic. Andrew merged onto the highway, Christmas music playing on the radio, his mind already on the party preparations. He was about 10 minutes from home when it happened. Every light on the highway went out simultaneously. Street lights, traffic signals, building lights, car headlights. Everything. For exactly 3 seconds, the world went dark. Then the lights flickered back on. Cars that had stalled restarted. Traffic lights resumed their cycles. But something felt off. The air was colder. A wind that hadn't been there a moment before. Andrew's radio crackled. The music was gone. Instead, a panicked voice cut through the static. Don't know what's happening, reports coming in from all over. Something's coming, not from Earth, everyone needs to. The transmission cut out. Music resumed. Upbeat pop song. As if nothing had happened. Andrew gripped the steering wheel tighter. His hands were shaking slightly. But no. No, it was fine. Just some weird technical glitch. Solar flares mess with electronics all the time. Nothing to panic about. He pulled into his building's garage, grabbed the grocery bags from the trunk, and headed upstairs. Andrew's apartment was on the 12th floor with a view of the city skyline. Perfect for watching fireworks at midnight. He spent the next 2 hours preparing, arranging food, setting up the sound system, making sure there was enough seating for everyone. At 8 p.m., exhausted but satisfied, he made himself a coffee and collapsed on the couch. He grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. Nothing. He flipped through channels. Static. Black screens. Error messages. Every channel was down. Then, after 2 or 3 minutes of nothing, the TV turned itself off. Andrew stared at the dark screen. His reflection stared back, coffee cup halfway to his lips. The TV turned back on. A news anchor appeared. Not the usual polished professional. This was a man with sweat on his forehead, papers scattered across his desk, eyes wide with something that looked like barely controlled panic. "We don't know what's happening. I'm just going to be honest with you. We don't know. All we know is that observatories worldwide have detected something. An object. Or objects. Multiple signatures on radar that shouldn't be there. Moving too fast to be asteroids. Too organized to be natural. And they're heading toward Earth. ETA, we don't have an ETA. Could be hours. Could be days. But whatever this is, it's big, and it's coming, and..." The feed cut out. Replaced by a colorful graphic, "Technical difficulties. Please stand by." Andrew set down his coffee cup. His hand was shaking. A cold knot had formed in his stomach. That uneasy feeling from the car that sensed that something was wrong was back. Stronger now. But his friends would be here any minute. And this was probably all. What a hoax, a hack, some elaborate New Year's prank. The doorbell rang. They arrived one by one. Kyle with his infectious laugh and a case of beer. Emma with that expensive wine and nervous energy. Marcus with his guitar and stories from his latest job interview. Sarah with her new boyfriend Daniel, both dressed like they were going to a club instead of a casual house party. And finally Jessica and Brian, the couple who'd been together since high school and still acted like newlyweds. 7 people total. Friends who'd been through everything together. Graduations. Breakups. New jobs. Old drama. And now, New Year's Eve 2024, about to become 2025. They ate. They drank. They played card games and laughed too loud and put on music that was too loud and didn't care because tonight was about celebration. At 10:30 p.m., Andrew went to the kitchen to refill the snack bowls. The lights went out. Not just in his apartment. Through the window, he could see the entire city go dark. Skyscrapers. Street lights. Even car headlights on the highway. All gone. Complete. Total. Darkness. Andrew Emma's voice from the living room. Scared now? It's okay. He called back, fumbling for his phone. Just a power outage. Probably the whole building. Everyone turn on your phone flashlights. 7 beams of light cut through the darkness. The group huddled together in the living room, looking at each other's illuminated faces like survivors of a shipwreck. Check online, Marcus said. See what's happening. They all pulled up news sites and message boards. And within seconds, they understood, this wasn't just the building. It was the whole city. The whole country. Early reports suggested the whole world. And people were posting videos. Fires. Lots of fires. Buildings burning. Forests burning. Something about objects falling from the sky. Meteor shower, Kyle said, reading from his phone. It's just a meteor shower, Happens all the time. Not like this, Sarah whispered, scrolling through increasingly panicked posts. They went to the balcony. All 7 of them crowding the small space, looking up at the night sky. And there they were. Streaks of light. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Cutting across the darkness like tracer rounds. Some small and quick. Others large and slow, leaving burning trails that persisted for seconds before fading. "It's beautiful," Jessica whispered. "It's terrifying," Brian corrected. Andrew forced a smile. "It's just shooting stars, guys. Happens every New Year's. Nothing to worry about. Just a little more dramatic than usual." But even as he said it, he didn't believe it. Because these weren't normal meteors. They weren't burning up in the atmosphere the way they should. They were hitting the ground. He could see impact flashes on the horizon. Could hear distant booms, like thunder but deeper, more ominous. The meteor shower lasted for 10 minutes. Then, as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The sky was clear again. Dark and peaceful and wrong. 11 p.m., the earthquakes. The first tremor was so slight that Andrew thought he'd imagined it. Just a little vibration. A feeling like someone heavy walking in the apartment above. Then it happened again. Stronger. The wine glasses on the table rattled. Was that Emma started? The third one was unmistakable. The floor shook. The walls creaked. Picture frames swung on their hooks. "Earthquake," Daniel said flatly. "We need to get in a doorway." They moved to the door frames, the way they'd been taught in school. Andrew in the kitchen doorway. Kyle and Marcus in the bedroom door. The others scattered to safe positions. The shaking continued. Not one big quake. Multiple small ones. Every 5 to 10 minutes. Like the earth itself was shivering. Adjusting. Settling. After half an hour, the tremors stopped. They regrouped in the living room. Nobody was laughing anymore. The party mood had evaporated, replaced by something colder. Fear dressed up as concern. "Should we leave?" Jessica asked. "Go to a shelter or something." "And go where?" Sarah challenged. "The streets are probably chaos. At least here we have food and water." "We should stay together," Andrew decided. "Wait until morning. See what the news says." "It's probably..." The explosion cut him off. The sound came first. A boom so loud it felt like the air itself was tearing. Then light. Brilliant orange light flooding through the windows, bright as day, bright as a sun being born. Then the shock wave. The windows didn't just break. They exploded inward in a spray of glass and twisted metal frames. The floor bucked like a living thing. Furniture flew across the room. The 7 friends were thrown to the ground, arms over their heads, screaming but unable to hear their own voices over the roar of destruction. And then, as quickly as it started, it stopped. Andrew lifted his head. His ears were ringing. Blood dripped from a cut on his forehead. All around him, his friends were picking themselves up. Emma had glass in her hair. Marcus's arm was bleeding. Sarah was crying silently, her boyfriend trying to comfort her while nursing his own injuries. But they were alive. Bruised, cut, terrified, but alive. Through the shattered windows, they could see the source of the explosion. About 5 kilometers away, a column of smoke and flame rose into the night sky. The impact site. Something had hit the ground with enough force to shake the city and blow out windows from kilometers away. "We need to leave," Brian said, his voice shaking. "Right now. We need to." His phone buzzed. Then Andrew's. Then everyone's. "Emergency alert. Tsunami warning. Major seismic event in Mediterranean. All coastal residents evacuate to high ground." This is not a drill. They stared at their screens. Stared at each other. "We're on the 12th floor, Kyle said slowly. That's high ground, right?" "Depends on the size of the wave," Marcus whispered. They turned on the TV. Miraculously, it still worked. The same panicked news anchor was back, but now he wasn't even pretending to be calm. "Multiple impact sites across the globe, not meteors, repeat, not meteors. Objects show signs of intelligent design. We're receiving reports of things emerging from the impact craters. Military response initiated." But the feed cut to aerial footage. A crater, still glowing red. And something moving in that crater. Something large. Something that definitely wasn't a rock. "Oh my God," Emma breathed. "What is that?" Nobody answered. Because nobody wanted to say what they were all thinking. Andrew went to the broken windows. Looked out at the city. Fires everywhere. Emergency vehicles screaming through the streets. People running. Always running. Away from something. The clock on his phone read 11:47 p.m. In 13 minutes, it would be 2025. The new year. The new decade. "We need a plan," he said, turning back to his friends. "The tsunami will hit the coast first. We're inland enough that we might have time. But if those things, whatever they are, start moving toward the city, then what?" Sarah demanded. "What do we do against aliens, assuming that's what they are?" "We survive," Brian said firmly. "We stick together and we survive." Another tremor. This one was different. Not the quick shaking of an earthquake. This was sustained. A vibration that felt like something massive moving underground. Or something massive walking. "The ground is shaking," Jessica whispered. "But there's no earthquake. So what's causing it?" Andrew pulled up his phone's seismograph app. Every phone in the room showed the same pattern, regular vibrations. Rhythmic. Like footsteps. Getting closer. Getting louder. They could hear it now. All of them. A sound like drums made of mountains. Boom. 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 Each impact shaking the building. Pictures falling off walls. Cracks spider webbing across the ceiling. "It's coming here," Kyle said. No question in his voice. Just certainty. Andrew went to the balcony, or what was left of it. Looked toward the impact site. The smoke had cleared enough to see something silhouetted against the flames. Tall. Impossibly tall. Moving with slow, deliberate steps. And it wasn't alone. More shapes were rising from craters across the city. Converging. Moving with purpose toward what the city center, government buildings, or just spreading out to cover more ground. "They're hurting us," Marcus realized. "Look at the pattern. They're pushing people toward the coast. Away from the interior." "Why?" Sarah asked. "Because that's where the tsunami will hit," Andrew answered. "They're using our own evacuation response to kill us. We run from the earthquakes and meteors, right into the wave." The TV crackled. The news anchor was gone. In his place, a message in multiple languages, attention, this is an extinction event. Survival probability, minimal. Recommended action, make peace. We are sorry we could not prevent this. Goodbye. Then static. That's it. Emma's voice broke. That's all they have to say goodbye. The clock hit 11:58 p.m. 2 minutes until midnight. 2 minutes until 2025. 2 minutes until the world they knew ended completely. We're not dying here, Andrew said. He didn't feel brave. Didn't feel strong. But he felt responsible. These were his friends. His party. His invitation. The building has a basement. Emergency supplies. If we can get down there before. The building shook. Harder than any tremor before. The sound of concrete breaking. Steel bending. The structure itself beginning to fail. Now. Brian shouted. We go now. They ran for the door. 7 people who had come here to celebrate. 7 people who just wanted one last normal night before responsibility and age caught up with them. 7 people racing against the end of the world. The stairwell was chaos. Other residents fleeing. Some going up toward the roof, maybe hoping for helicopter rescue. Others going down toward the basement, toward cars, toward anywhere but here. Andrew led his group down. 12 flights of stairs. The building was still shaking. Emergency lights flickering. Someone screaming on every floor. They reached the lobby. The front doors had been blown out. Through them, Andrew could see the street. Cars overturned. Buildings on fire. And in the distance, silhouetted against the flames, one of those things was visible. Tall as a skyscraper. Moving with insect-like precision. Basement. Andrew yelled, redirecting them away from the horror outside. They found the access door. Locked. Of course it was locked. Brian, who'd played football in university, slammed his shoulder into it. Once. Twice. The lock broke on the 3rd hit. They tumbled into darkness. Found the emergency lighting. Followed signs to the emergency shelter, a reinforced room designed for earthquakes and bombings. Not designed for whatever this was, but it was something. They sealed themselves inside. The room was maybe 15 by 15 feet. Concrete walls. Emergency supplies stocked on shelves. 7 people pressed together in the dim light. From outside, they could hear it. The boom 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 of footsteps. Getting closer. Getting louder. The vibrations so strong now that dust was falling from the ceiling. Andrew checked his phone. 11:59 and 47 seconds p.m. 13 seconds until midnight. 13 seconds until 2025. Listen, he said to his friends. If this is the end. I'm glad I'm with you. All of you. You're the best. The midnight alarm went off. All 7 phones. Synchronized. Cheerful digital chimes celebrating the new year. Happy New Year 2025. And outside, something roared. Not the sound of an animal. Not the sound of a machine. Something else. Something that vibrated in frequencies human ears weren't meant to perceive. A sound that made their bones ache and their teeth hurt and their hearts race. A sound of arrival. A sound of conquest. A sound of the world changing forever. The lights went out. In the darkness, Kyle laughed. A broken, desperate sound. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy fucking New Year. The stairwell was chaos. Other residents fleeing. Some going up toward the roof, maybe hoping for helicopter rescue. Others going down toward the basement, toward cars, toward anywhere but here. Andrew led his group down. 12 flights of stairs. The building was still shaking. Emergency lights flickering. Someone screaming on every floor. They reached the lobby. The front doors had been blown out. Through them, Andrew could see the street. Cars overturned. Buildings on fire. And in the distance, silhouetted against the flames, one of those things was visible. Tall as a skyscraper. Moving with insect-like precision. Basement. Andrew yelled, redirecting them away from the horror outside. They found the access door. Locked. Of course it was locked. Brian, who'd played football in university, slammed his shoulder into it. Once. Twice. The lock broke on the third hit. They tumbled into darkness. Found the emergency lighting. Followed signs to the emergency shelter, a reinforced room designed for earthquakes and bombings. Not designed for whatever this was, but it was something. They sealed themselves inside. The room was maybe 15 by 15 feet. Concrete walls. Emergency supplies stocked on shelves. 7 people pressed together in the dim light. From outside, they could hear it. The boom 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 of footsteps. Getting closer. Getting louder. The vibrations so strong now that dust was falling from the ceiling. Andrew checked his phone. 11:59 and 47 seconds p.m. 13 seconds until midnight. 13 seconds until 2025. Listen, he said to his friends. If this is the end. I'm glad I'm with you. All of you. You're the best. The midnight alarm went off. All 7 phones. Synchronized. Cheerful digital chimes celebrating the new year. Happy New Year 2025. And outside, something roared. Not the sound of an animal. Not the sound of a machine. Something else. Something that vibrated in frequencies human ears weren't meant to perceive. A sound that made their bones ache and their teeth hurt and their hearts race. A sound of arrival. A sound of conquest. A sound of the world changing forever. The lights went out. In the darkness, Kyle laughed. A broken, desperate sound. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy fucking New Year. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. Time lost meaning in the darkness. They huddled together. Listened to the sounds outside. The booming footsteps. The screams. The sounds of destruction. The wet, heavy sound of something enormous moving through water. The tsunami had hit. We're 12 floors underground, Marcus whispered. We should be safe from the water. Should be, Sarah echoed. But safe from what else? Nobody answered. Andrew's phone battery was at 5%. He turned it on one last time. Checked for signal. Miraculously, there was one bar. Online platforms were chaos. The last posts before the blackout had been from all over the world. Tokyo. London. New York. Sao Paulo. Sydney. Every major city. Every coastline. Every population center. The impacts were global. Whatever had come to Earth, it hadn't come for one country or one continent. It had come for everyone. The last video Andrew saw before his phone died was from someone in Moscow. Shaky footage of one of those creatures up close. Tall. biomechanical. Moving with purpose. And in the video, it was herding people. Thousands of them. Moving them like cattle toward something. The video cut off before showing what. His phone went dark. What do we do? Jessica asked the question they'd all been thinking. We wait, Andrew said. We wait until morning. Then we figure out what's left. If anything. And if there's nothing left, Emma whispered. Then we survive anyway. Because that's what humans do. We survive. Outside, the footsteps continued. Rhythmic. Methodical. Searching. And somewhere above them, in what used to be Andrew's 12th floor apartment, the clock that had fallen off the wall during the shockwave continued to tick. 1 minute into the new year. 1 minute into the end. 1 minute into whatever came next. The footsteps had stopped. For the first time in hours, there was silence. Not complete silence. Andrew could still hear distant sounds. Machinery moving, water, something else, but the immediate area around them was quiet. Do we go look? Kyle asked. Not yet, Brian said. Let's give it until dawn. If they're gone, they're gone. If they're not, we need daylight to see what we're dealing with. So they waited. 7 people in a reinforced room. Running low on water. No food. But alive. At some point, Sarah started crying. Silent tears at first, then full sobs. Daniel held her, but he was crying too. The stress. The fear. The realization that everything they'd known was gone. I was supposed to start my new job on January 3rd, she said between sobs. I was going to move to a new apartment. I was going to. We'll figure it out, Andrew said, though he didn't know if he believed it. When this is over, we'll rebuild. Humans always rebuild. What if there's nothing left to rebuild? Marcus asked. Then we start from scratch. Stone tools and cave paintings and working our way back up. But we do it together. Emma laughed. Actual laughter. You're such an optimist. Someone has to be. They sat in silence for a while longer. Then Jessica spoke. It's 5:30 a.m. Sun should be rising soon. Andrew stood. Okay. We go up. Carefully. See what's left. If it looks bad, we come right back down. Agreed. They agreed. 7 people. Moving as one. Opening the shelter door. Climbing the stairs. Passing the lobby with its destroyed doors and blood stains that hadn't been there before. Reaching the ground floor. Looking out at what used to be their city. The city was gone. Not destroyed in the way movies show destruction, not rubble and smoke and recognizable ruins. It was changed. Transformed. Replaced. Where buildings had stood, there were now strange structures. Geometric. Crystalline. Growing up from the ground like some massive coral reef. Streets were gone, replaced by organic-looking pathways that pulsed with bioluminescent light. And everywhere there was fog. Thick green fog that smelled like copper and ozone and something else. Something alive. What did they do? Emma whispered. They terraformed it, Marcus said. In one night, they terraformed the entire planet. In the distance, one of those massive creatures stood motionless. In the dawn light, they could see it more clearly now. It wasn't a machine and it wasn't an animal. It was both. Biomechanical. Purpose-built. A tool shaped like a giant. And around its base, moving in organized patterns, were smaller things. Human-sized. Maybe smaller. Moving with the efficiency of ants rebuilding their colony. Are those? Kyle couldn't finish the question. People, Brian answered. Or what used to be people. They could see it now. The humans changed somehow. Moving like sleepwalkers. Following paths only they could see. Building. Always building. Adding to the strange structures. Expanding the transformation. They're not killing us, Andrew realized. They're converting us. Into what Sarah asked. Workers. Builders. Part of whatever this new world is. A sound behind them. They spun around. Standing in the lobby of their building was one of the smaller creatures. Humanoid but wrong. Skin like brushed metal. Eyes that glowed with internal light. It held something in its hand, a device that looked like a combination of a scanner and a weapon. It pointed the device at them. 7 people. Frozen. Waiting. The device made a sound. A soft chime. Then the creature lowered it. Turned. Walked away. As if they weren't worth its time. Why didn't it take us? Jessica whispered. I don't know, Andrew said. But we need to leave. Now. Before it comes back with friends. They moved through the changed world carefully. Avoiding the creatures, both the giant terraformers and the converted humans. Finding other survivors. A group of 12 in an underground parking garage. A family of 4 hiding in a sealed bank vault. An elderly couple who'd survived by pure luck, their apartment building somehow still standing amid the transformation. Slowly, they built a network. Survivors who hadn't been converted. People who were still, themselves. And they learned things. Terrible things. The invasion had been global. Every continent. Every country. Billions were either dead or converted in the first 48 hours. The transformation was ongoing. The creatures were reshaping Earth into something else. A new ecosystem. A new world built on the bones of the old. But there was hope too. Small pockets of resistance. Military units that had survived. Scientists working on understanding the technology. Ways to maybe fight back. Or at least survive long enough to see what came next. Andrew stood on what used to be a rooftop, looking out at the city that wasn't a city anymore. His friends around him. 17 survivors total now. More joining every day. We didn't get to celebrate the new year, Kyle said quietly. No, Andrew agreed. But we're alive. That's something to celebrate. What do we do now? Andrew looked at the transformed landscape. At the massive creatures still working. At the converted humans building their new world. We survive. We adapt. We wait for our moment. And when it comes, if it comes, we take back our planet. And if that moment never comes, then we make sure humanity doesn't disappear. We keep our stories. Our culture. Our memories. And we pass them on. Because as long as we remember who we were, we can't truly be erased. A converted human walked past below them. It had once been someone's parent, someone's child, someone's friend. Now it was something else. A cog in an alien machine. But it was still alive. Changed, but alive. And where there was life, Andrew thought, there was hope. The sun rose over the new world. Green light filtered through strange crystalline towers. The air smelled of ozone and transformation. The sound of construction, always construction, echoed across the landscape. Earth was gone. But humans remained. And they would endure. They always did.